Right. I think what social media is amazing in general, not just LinkedIn, is that it touches people after the 9 to 5 day. We were so used to this kind of idea that you worked and then you clocked out and you forgot about it. But these other ways that you could touch people on different time zones. We're on the East Coast. So, when you're posting, you could schedule to be seen from, all over the world. I think it's a way to touch people that we never really were able to. Manufacturing such a big component, but it's hard to put these like faces and other items to, the company. But when you are able to post and kind of be seen and make it these things to stay top of mind, it definitely was a way to build our brand.
The first goal for modern marketing in today's manufacturing environment is to make sure the products stay top of mind. If you're looking for marketing industry knowledge, you're in the right place. This podcast will help you overcome your marketing and sales challenges. I'm Sanna Winding, and in this podcast, we'll take a deep dive and explore how to succeed in the electronics manufacturing industry. Welcome to Modern Marketing for Manufacturing Companies and Manufacturing Reps. We'll be talking to industry leaders about how they're meeting the needs of their B2B customers in the electronics manufacturing industry. I'm your host, Sanna Winding, and today I have Bridget Kane-Ferrigan with me. She's a marketing professional with experience around brand positioning and digital marketing. She's a marketing strategist at Fairrate Products, which is a manufacturer who create innovative solutions for the global electronic industry. So welcome, Bridget. It's so great to have you on here today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And actually, it was so fun because we finally met each other at EDS, right? Back in May.
Right.
It was so great to see your energy as a person because I've been following you and the company right behind, or just on LinkedIn. So suddenly to see you right there, it's just so great to see it. And I'm so impressed with what you've done on social media and also how you've been growing your followers. So I want to hear more about that. But first, right, let's get some of the listener, if you can tell a little bit about yourself, your background, maybe your job responsibility. I think that'll be great.
Yeah, no, I started at Fairrate 5 years ago. I got my master's in digital marketing from Sacred Heart University. So it was my first job after that. So they took a chance on me, and I am very grateful because it's been the best experience. So what I do here at Fairrate is I wear many hats. I'm in charge of the trade shows, all of the digital content, the social media, all the fun stuff, the giveaways, it's all the things you get to decide that shows. It puts, these items or these posts and stuff that makes these manufacturing facility accessible. It's amazing. It was my first manufacturing company, so it was kind of a learning curve, seeing that everything's this one-stop shop. Yeah. So it's definitely, taken a few years, but now, now that the ball is running, I feel like, it's only going up from here.
Yeah, you're like flying. No. So let's talk about the LinkedIn, because I think that's where you have a lot of success, and maybe you have more. Then tell more about that. But how does it started, and how did you get aligned and could see that this is actually benefit for you or giving you that success you were looking for?
Right. I think what social media is amazing in general, not just LinkedIn, is that it touches people after the 9 to 5 day. We were so used to this kind of idea that you worked and then you clocked out and you forgot about it. But these other ways that you could touch people on different time zones. We're on the East Coast. So, when you're posting, you could schedule to be seen from, all over the world. I think it's a way to touch people that we never really were able to. Manufacturing such a big component, but it's hard to put these like faces and other items to, the company. But when you are able to post and kind of be seen and make it these things to stay top of mind, it definitely was a way to build our brand. Yeah. It was not such a focus before. I mean, we had LinkedIn's and everything, and there was posts and everything, but I think staying on top of mind, LinkedIn specifically, we were able to build our network from the ground up, and, the engineers are able to access things. I am, of the generation that like we thrive in these kind of situations, posting and making sure we're seen. So it's just something like everyday life for us. So I did want to make a big effort into that kind of marketing. So it's definitely been we're kind of, like I said, we got the ball rolling, and now we found our groove. We found how to identify where we are and what we sell, and kind of make it a fluid branding along with a very clean look. It's hard not to get so complicated on social media.
Yeah. That's good. And also get faces, right? Or people, and be more, humanize the company or the manufacturing company,
Totally.
be there, right? To represent you.
Right.
So you're also on Twitter and Facebook. So how's that? Is that just to have the footprint, or is that also giving you benefits?
I think, with Facebook, there's all these different approaches. Like Twitter is, for branding for a company, I think it's probably one of the harder eggs, because it's kind of, where everyone just goes to complain, right? So you don't want to be talked about on Twitter. So if you are the only one posting on Twitter, there's fun banter and stuff like that you can have. But I think Facebook is more for what I say is our employees, our friends of employees, where they get to see where we have events, and, the faces behind our production, the people that make business run are these people that are here. When the pandemic happened, they were coming in every day, and we wanted to showcase that. So I think, you kind of have to have these different approaches for these different kinds of media. Also, of components, electronics is a hard concept to explain. I am not an engineer. So when I have these posts where these employees can be like, we're found in this thing, it makes it full circle for everybody. So it's kind of, there's something for everybody. I try to make it at least like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So you just said, let's talk about the pandemic, right? Before and after. Mm-hmm. So how did that influence how you were, your daily work, and also how you're communicating?
Yeah, I think the pandemic definitely kind of made us accessible all the time, where we used to have conferences and meet with reps quarterly, but, now we're a phone call away, and we all kind of adapted. Office staff, we were home, but it was definitely, we still had production going. So, it was important for everyone to be in when we could. So I think, readapting to the content creation technology wise was a big focus for us. I remember going into 2020, and I said, we had this big marketing meeting, and I said, we should focus on content creation. So it kind of set up for a good start. We had a YouTube channel that was really booming at the time. And if you go back into 2020 on our YouTube channel, you'll see Mike Garrison, product manager, doing videos out of his garage. And it's, when you look back on it, it's like such a time in our life, anyone who lived through this, we all know what it was like. So I think it was just adapting and growing and kind of this new norm. We could have just stopped making videos altogether, because it would have been the easy way out. But no, like Bruce, our other product manager, would come in on weekends when no one else was here and record. So I think it was just adapting and making sure that we still had the presence that we were building so steadily before it to consistently be available. So I think, we were kind of setting ourselves up for a good start, but we were not prepared enough, obviously, who could be, but it definitely wasn't as bad as I think some of the other branding adapting to this new technology would be.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's so great with the YouTube, and you just being more creative, right? And being, having it from your garage makes you just more human. Right. It's like, hey, exactly. Right. This is how this is how I live.
And then a lot of it is also, you could do this at home too. The engineers that were watching the videos were adjusting to how they had to adjust. So it kind of is like, well, if he could do it in his garage, you could do it in your garage. So it kind of, made it seem that life didn't have to completely change.
No. How did the sales and the marketing process and how you were aligned, how did that change with before pandemic and after pandemic?
I think, with the aligning ourselves with good reps and making sure that we were in front of them, providing the tools and the content that they need to survive and, thrive digitally rather than, before leading up to this, we were focused on this print catalog, which is so, me being the digital marketing, it was like, I'm doing what with paper? So it was an adjustment. So when we were working on that, we were like, this I'm not sure this is ever going to go back. So it's, providing the tools for them that they are able to do their selling from the computer screen, or having webinars where they set up lunch and learns. We did do a big budget for Grubhub so we can have these kind of lunch and learns where reps were able to bring their engineers and FAEs from distributors that were able to have these technical conversations that we might not have even been a part of because we would have to have physically traveled there. So, in a lot of ways, it helped us, and it kind of, we were able to be touching people that we wouldn't have been able to in the past.
Yeah. So have you seen anything like going faster now? Has that speeding up? So when you are involved with customers through your reps, has the onboarding or finding out, the problem you're solving for the customer, is that going faster now because of the Zoom and the team meetings?
Yeah. No, I definitely think it's definitely going faster because, we're in this age of instant gratification. So if they could have the engineer from our end, their end, and our rep be all part of this one conversation from the comfort of our home, everything's going to move quicker. They were able to ask the right questions to the right people rather than the rep having to then come to us and then go back to them. Because, when you're in front of someone, it's easier to kind of grab their attention and keep their attention. They walk away with action items just like we do. So yeah. I think everything is moving faster just because of the, availability of everybody involved.
Yeah. What about manufacturing reps? Because I can see on LinkedIn, right? You're expanding and adding more of these reps, which is awesome. So how do you set up, so it's going to be a good onboarding, but also how do you succeed with them? What do you expect from them, and what do they expect from you?
Yeah, no, we definitely took the time to onboard a bunch of established rep groups. I mean, they are the top-notch rep groups that we always wanted to align with. So when onboarding, I think what we did was we had both distribution, engineering, we had these kind of sessions, and marketing, of course, and we were able to stay in front of them. And when we had them have any questions, we were able to have application trainings and other stuff like that where they could see, because I think a big part of rep groups that are amazing is the cross-selling of them, where they might not have even thought of us previously, but now that they have our line, that they can cross-sell and make sure that they're covering all of their different lines when they're going to and setting up these calls. So
that's good. So what kind of marketing material do you share with the reps? And do they use it, or are they just like ending up in that inbox and then they don't use it?
No, that's the other thing. It's, it's no longer the print catalogs. I think, it's funny because I used to think the catalog they would bring was like their passport. It's like, I got my blue book. I have to bring it to somebody. So I think, now that they have these kind of PDFs and easy, files that we provide them. So we do a lot of application flyers where they can see where our products fall in very common applications like automotive, medical, solar. And then we also have product lines where it's just these quick access, quick sheets. So it's no longer this, homework where they have to, I had to give in this paperwork because, the marketing girl at Ferrite's going to hunt me down if I don't. It's usually when they're having a conversation, they're like, we do have this other line that has this great flyer that I think you should look at. Yeah. So I do think the flyers have been great. The videos perform really, really well with engineers because, and hobbyists, because they want, that's what they're looking for. And so providing all of that stuff, and also just listening to our reps when they say that they have a customer that's looking for something, being easily adaptable to making that. So we have a really great graphic designer who can make everything for us. So it kind of wasn't this huge lag, before COVID, we would have to send it out and, but now it's this, quick turn. It's focused, we only have somebody's attention for so long. So it's, giving them what they ask us for.
Yeah. So, but again, so the age group of engineers, let's go into that, right? That's the older ones, and then that's all the young one coming in. Yeah. And they all have different habits, right? Yes. The older ones, maybe they really like that catalog print. Yes. They really like it printed out. They print everything out. Younger ones like, no, I just, my phone or my, my laptop. Right. That's where I access it. So how do you make sure you actually are accessible to all of them?
So I think one of the great things that we do is we still provide those paper things, you know, as much as it was for me a confusion because I'm part of that younger group. You know, we have engineers here that are looking for the catalog, you know, it's also a great tool when someone's new or, you know, getting our line for the first time. FAEs that, you know, these distributors used to, that was what they used, you know, you look through a book. So I think, you know, not completely eliminating all of the other tools that we used to use, and also being, you know, organically available. So I think with the younger generation, you want to be accessible and give them the instant gratification where they can do a quick Google search and they can find us organically online, along with, you know, providing tools. We have these amazing tools on our website called Ask the Advisor, where anyone can ask any question, and we have our engineers answering them in 48 hours. So, you know, if anyone's like me and doesn't want to make a phone call, you'd rather do anything but actually talk to someone, those are the perfect tools, you know. And that's what a lot of our engineers say, like, you know, I rather just, you know, ask the question and get an email, because it's also part of the, you know, keeping a record. Our phones and our computers are our life these days, you know. Having a conversation is so hard to not get lost in translation. So I think having these tools that we provide for them, and being also, you know, aligned with really great distributors that engineers use. Half of our team were design engineers before, so they know what they were going to. So we aligned with really great distributors that focus on engineers. So it, you know, being available from all ends is what we have to focus on, you know.
Oh, that's great. No, I didn't see that on your website because I was impressed by your website as well. But that's great. I'm sure that is like a lead. When you can you can ask anything.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, it's a way to touch somebody, because, you know, you can get all of these analytics, but when someone's wanting to hear from you, it's, you know, that means that they're expecting, and you can definitely reach back out, or, you know, the leads for our reps. It's also a great tool for our reps. We have a fantastic machine shop, and, you know, you'd be amazed at how frequently things come out of Ask the Advisors, just someone thinking of an idea, and we're like, we can do that. You know, it's, you know, if you dream it, we could do it. And if you type it in the ATA, it's happening. So I think, you know, providing these tools is what kind of makes us different. It kind of humanizes the manufacturing.
Yeah, definitely. What about marketing and planning? How far do you plan your campaigns, or what's going on?
Right. So generally I do a month out. I don't go too crazy, just because times are so different. Times are changing. You know, I just saw something that marketing is the only thing that you have to learn, unlearn, and then relearn. So it's hard to plan too far in advance, you know, because, you know, as consumers, we adapt, you know, there's different, everyone's thinking differently. You're not clicking the first link on a Google. You know that's an ad now. You know, we're all programmed differently. So I think pre-planning is great. I have general ideas of themes that I try to do and kind of schedule those out when it comes to applications that I'm focusing on. But other than that, I kind of try to adapt, see what works. I do 1 month at a time. And then I try to also provide our reps with things about a month and a half before. So I try to allow them to have the time to be the first touch and the first look for when it comes to marketing. So I send it to them because I want the customer to see it came from our rep, you know, first before. And then when we follow up with the same post or something similar, they're like, oh yeah, and that relates to this rep. So it's, you know, I try to say a month and a half max, but you know, the scheduling features on these different programs are the way to a marketer's heart, because it's so difficult when you didn't have that set up.
Yeah. No. That's good. No, it's good to feel. And it also makes you able to pivot, right? If something is happening or something pops up of an amazing anything in the organization, you can actually add that in, or you can change to it. So that's good. What about responsiveness? Because I think if we look at us, right, B2C, if we buy something on Amazon, we just like, you know, next day, right? Or the next day after that. So the responsiveness, how is that behavior or the habits that we have of our day-to-day life? Have you seen if that's changing, you know, when you work with B2B customers? Is that the same, or and I think also
we're seeing from globally, it's different. Us in North America, we do expect things pretty quickly, and we want instant gratification, but in Europe, things are a little different. They want the quality rather than, so I think always adjusting to who you're marketing to, and, having, expectations that are realistic. Any electronic component company is going to talk about lead times and the dreaded L word. So I think, everyone in our industry expects it. So it's not so much this Amazon, but I think it is interesting to see but when it comes to responsiveness from a branding up, like with the ATIs, there's a great example.
Yeah.
Having answer their question, they're already expecting the lead time if we do move forward with it, or, the, delay in price, whatever it may be. But, when you answer them and they're feeling seen. So I think we all just want to be feeling seen, right? We want to know that we're not in this oblivion of the internet. So the ATA is having a maximum of 48 hours where people have to be heard from again, is where we, the responsiveness, or, if someone requests a catalog or requests a sample, getting back to them quickly doesn't mean that they'll have the product by Prime, but it does mean that they're seen and they know they're a value add, because that's what we want to be seen as, somebody, a service. We're providing your Signal solution. So whatever we have to do to get that answer to you, we're going to do it.
Yeah. No, good. What about, so somebody's listening, right? And they're like, oh, either they don't have anybody as a marketing resource in there as a manufacturer, or maybe they have one person. So if you have to give an advice, because you've been in your role for a couple of years, you learned, you're growing, you're scaling and everything else. What kind of advice will you give?
So I guess what I would say is just consistency. Invest in tools that, it doesn't have to be the most expensive tools, but just invest in tools that make your life easier, and just so you could stay in front of the customer. LinkedIn, anything that's free, email campaigns, catchy, titles in your emails. It's what sells to you. So that's the thing. When you get an email, what makes you open that email, or what ad on the side? You have to think of as the consumer rather than just the marketer. So whatever you can do to kind of stay in front of them and use the tools that you have. Everything is coming up with so many different ways. We prefer constant contact because I can do my calendar scheduling and stuff with emails and surveys and everything. Yeah. So whatever can keep you consistent and, pre-planning, spend a day planning. That's kind of the best advice I could give. And just stay authentically your company, what you want people to see as your company.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good advice. I like that. And I think definitely the consistency. It takes time. And again, right, do it for 3 months, and then you can actually see and measure and see the benefit and success of it. And then keep going. Just after a few days, right? That doesn't flip and then
no.
What about so I want to talk about what you're facing right now as your biggest challenge. What do you have on the table right now, or maybe on your computer that's you're saying, oh, this is my next big mountain that I need to,
besides the print catalog,
the forever print catalog.
No, I think what's our biggest challenge is just evolving. Like I said, consumers are growing, we're getting smarter, we want to stay in front of them, and we want to be accessible, but also, it's hard because we are a smaller company, and we don't have the same marketing budget as a lot of people. So it's utilizing what we have, like I said, utilizing the free tools, utilizing the reps that you align with, reaching out to, distributors that you could see if there's any sort of free featured marketing that you could be a part of. It doesn't hurt to ask, So I think that and just creating new products to stay on top of mind, NPIs, anything that we could to stay on top of mind and make sure that we don't, fall flat. I think that's kind of always going to be our biggest, uphill battle is just staying relative. And, components are so hard because there's so many companies, but, we have a really unique model being 70 years US manufacturing, never, wavering from that. So I think branding to stay who we are across the board always.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And and keep going, right? And be creative, I think. And when you're saying with the free tools, what I've seen and what I've learned on the way as well in my journey is that sometimes by not having the budget makes you be more creative and saying, okay, then how do I make that message, and what about YouTube, right? Or create video, and don't have too high expectations. And sometimes when you try, suddenly it turns out to be really great. So
yeah, and it's even more fun, half of it is the fun of marketing, right? It's you want to see that growth, from where I was 5 years ago. I would never imagine where we are now with this, growing YouTube channel and our consistent marketing and, the branding that we're getting across. It's just finding what works for you guys. And that's, that it feels really good,
Yeah. And you have to experiment, right? Jump in and try. Because if you don't try, it'll be the same and nothing changed. So don't.
And that's listening to your rep.
Yeah, do it. Cool. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, Bridget, where can they find you and how can they connect to you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn under Bridget Kane-Ferrigan. I'm also available via email, kaneb@fair-right.com, and reach out on fairright.com. Anything that you guys may need, and I'm always happy to help. And it's been awesome talking to you.
Yeah, no, and I'll make sure to the links that you just said, right? I'll make sure that there will be in the show notes and also on the episode page on mindinnovation.com. So yeah, this was fun. So,
I know it was.
It's just, I liked it. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to see you in person again really soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Thanks for listening to this episode of Mind Innovation Special Edition about modern marketing for manufacturing companies and manufacturing reps. New episodes are dropping bi-weekly, so make sure you're following wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me on LinkedIn, search for Sanna Winding. You can also find me on YouTube, search for Mind Innovation, or go to my website, sannawinding.com, or check out mindinnovation.com. Stay curious and keep learning.